Hi, everybody. It's John. It's the Record Shelf. Welcome back to another episode of the Doobie Brothers 1973 album, The Captain and Me, which we are still doing. We've got two more shows on this. We've already done two. We've got 6 songs covered, and we're about to do the next 3. And these 3 are South City Midnight Lady, Evil Woman, and Busted Down Around O'Connelly Corners. Okay, this is, if you haven't watched the other episodes, please go and check those out first, because I kind of give a rundown on what was behind the album, what they're doing, who were the members of the band. Of course, if you know all those things, that's fine. But yes, this is the 3rd episode of this record review. And as I said, some of these songs I haven't heard in a very long time. So I'm actually doing a reaction to a lot of them. There's a few songs on here that I've always known and heard because there have been radio staples, but a lot of them have not. So I'm kind of reacting to them. Anyway, go back and watch those other videos and then come back and check this one out if you haven't, because we're just going down the line. And this is some of the best work by the Doobie Brothers. It really gives you an idea of the kind of music they did, a really good broad brush of what they were like. They had a country side and they had a rock side, and Johnston, who was more of the rocker, he had the edgier. He wrote a lot of the lyrics and wrote a lot of the melodies for the greatest songs they did, and really upbeat, rockier ones, the edgier ones. And then Pat Simmons was more of the country guy, although he wrote some good material too, and we just heard that in the last episode. So we're about to hear the next 3 songs on this album, and they put a lot of stuff on this album. It's a big album. We had 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe about 12 songs on this album. That's a lot. Most albums had between 8 and 9, so they put 12, and that's a lot. All right, so if you enjoy the Doobie Brothers, and you're going to like this album, it's a great album. You've heard it probably a long time ago. Maybe you still listen to it. I don't know. But if you are younger and you are watching this, let me know if you enjoy the show. And I'm introducing you to music and bands that you probably haven't even heard of before, but were very well known in our day. In my day, the Doobie Brothers were a well-liked band because so much of their music was very upbeat, hopeful, and just good music. You know, they were coming out of the 60s, and they still had this sort of hippie-like, a positive vibes going on with music in the world. And this is why bands like Black Sabbath came along and just threw everybody a curveball, because it was so opposite of everything else that was out there. And some people wanted music that wasn't so upbeat and happy. And so bands like Black Sabbath, got out there and did well. But the Doobies were an upbeat, happy band. I mean, they didn't write about everything that was happy. In fact, some of the songs here clearly are not. South City Midnight Lady sounds to me like a song about a prostitute and a guy who was an alcoholic and depressed. The next song is Evil Woman, which is about a woman. After this, Evil Woman, which is a song about a woman who clearly is dangerous and yet incredibly appealing to a guy. And anyway, so not every song was happy and upbeat, but a lot of their music was, and that's what we like about the Doobie Brothers. They had great harmonies, they had great songwriting, interesting lyrics, but really, to me, it was the music that appealed to me. Not even the lyrics so much, but the music, the way they wrote and performed their music. Now, they had 2 drummers, so they had a very strong and a great bass player, and that was an incredibly good rhythm section, which really helped them to drive that positive, upbeat music. And then you had 2 guitar players and 2 major lead singers, Pat Simmons and Johnston. So they were kind of yin and yang a little bit. They would play off each other. Sometimes it'd be more of a rocky song than more of a country song. This next one here, South City Midnight Lady, is more laid back. It's a little more mellow, I believe. I haven't listened to this now in many, many, many years, so I'm just going on my memory, which is kind of foggy. So we will soon find out exactly what I think about this song. So let's get going with South City Midnight Lady. Here we go now.
Shaking hands, I went and I lit up my last cigarette. Well, the sun came, the night fled, and sleepy-eyed I reached my bed. I saw you sleepy, dreaming there, all covered in warmth. South City midnight lady, I'm much obliged indeed. You sure have saved this man whose soul was in need. I thought there was no reason for all these things I do, but the smile that I said I'd return with you. When days left the night behind and shadows roll across my mind, I sometimes find myself alone out walking the streets. Yes, when I'm feeling down and blue, then all I do is think of you, and all my foolish problems seem to fade away. South City midnight lady, I'm much obliged indeed. You sure have saved this man whose soul was in need. I thought there was no reason for all these things I do, but the smile that I said I'd return South City midnight lady, I'm much obliged indeed. You sure have saved this man whose soul was in need. I thought there was no reason for all these things I do, yeah, but the smile that I said I'd return with you.
Well, okay. Southside Midnight Lady. And it was a country song. I mean, it had serious country vibes going on, especially when you throw that steel guitar in there. Yeah, just it's clearly that. But there was that bridge section where it really got less country and a little more pop music. The noodling he was doing on the guitar was really good. I liked that. It was a nice little bridge there. It kind of broke a song apart, added a different vibe to it, and then it kind of went back to that. It's got strong country vibes, and it kind of reminds me a little bit of Eagles music. You know, they kind of ride that line between rock, pop, and country, and they can kind of go either direction. Sometimes a little more country, a little more rock. But and the Doobies do that exact same thing. As I said, Pat Simmons was more of a country background, and so the songs he wrote and the songs he sang and the songs he dominated tended to be more like that. Not always, but they tended to. While Johnston was more rock and more different, so he didn't do so much country stuff. His voice was different. I think this is Pat Simmons' voice, actually. Anyway, so there you go. South City Midnight Lady, and I think the song is about a guy who's depressed and drinking bad liquor into the early morning hours, and he looks for his prostitute friend who gives him a smile. Anyway, I think that's what this song is about. Okay. And as a country song, it's okay. I'm not saying this is a song I want on my playlist. It's just it's okay. It's a fine song, very mellow, laid back. Probably wouldn't want to hear it again and again and again. So, but anyway, not a bad song. It's perfectly fine for what it is. Some interesting stuff on it, but not my cup of tea necessarily. All right. So the next song is Evil Woman. Now, the Evil Woman that I know about was by ELO that came out in the 70s. And a great song, just a great song. But clearly, this is not it. This is something completely different. And after looking at the lyrics, I believe it's about a woman that is super attractive, appealing, but she's trouble, okay? She is trouble. You want to get away from her, but you just can't, okay? So that's what I think this song is about. I haven't heard this song in ages, so I have no idea what it sounds like, and I'm going to give a reaction to it. So let's do Evil Woman from the Doobies, from their 1973 album, The Captain and Me. Here we go now. I like the guitar.
She don't never let you go. Try everything, it won't help you none. She keep you in the shadows, never see the sun. Try to run, try to hide, find a place to stay. No matter where you go, you can't get away.
Wow. Okay, there we go. Evil Woman. That was a rock song. That was a rock song. The vocals in the background are very interesting. They don't sound like the singers that like Simmons and Johnston. Maybe it is. Maybe they just did some adjusting in the studio. Maybe they had some background singers to help out. That evil woman. It was good. Interesting guitar lick, and it was definitely a rock beat to it. You could hear really good drumming, nice use of the hi-hat and the drums. Didn't get in the way of the song. Yeah, it was a good song. It's not one I'd put on my playlist clearly, but it conveyed the evil woman feeling. Man, this evil woman, I gotta cut her free so I can survive. She's trouble. And she's even bigger trouble because I'm super attracted to her, okay? And so anyway, that's an interesting song. Evil Woman doesn't have the... In fact, like I said, these last two songs don't sound like Doobie songs. They sound like... They don't have that upbeat, positive vibe that they often have in their songs. In fact, the first one was about had a very country-ish, kind of depressing feel. There's some nice stuff in there. And this one is totally... This woman is trouble. You get that menacing feeling, totally menacing feeling from this. Absolutely no doubt about it. All right. So there we go with the first two songs of this episode, South City Midnight Lady and Evil Woman. The next one has got a very interesting title to it, Busted Down Around O'Connelly Corners. Now, I have no idea what this song is about. Maybe it's about a drunken brawl outside of an Irish pub. I don't know. We're going to find out. So let's do Busted Down Around O'Connelly Corners. Here we go with this one. Here we go. Let's pop it up in. Let's hear it. Hit it. Boom. Didn't expect this. Fading out. Wow, there we go. Well, there we go. Busted Down Around O'Connelly Corners. A very short, small instrumental on an acoustic guitar. Yeah, it's not anything I expected. I thought it was going to be longer, for one thing. It's just a guy playing a little tune on an acoustic guitar for about not even a minute, 48 seconds. So, well, there you go, folks. Those are the next three songs on this album. And really, Evil Woman was probably the one that I kind of thought it would be like, because it was about an evil woman. Okay. The first one, yeah, it sort of turned out. I thought, yeah, this is the kind of music you want for this song, for the lyrics. It fit well. So, but I didn't know what to expect. But this one really threw me for a loop, because I did not expect a 48-second acoustic solo. Okay, and it was just a noodling. It wasn't like a real solo or anything. So anyway, a little bit on this album. I don't know what possessed them to do this, put this in there. Maybe they need a little filler in the album, and they said, let's drop this in there. But there you go. This is the third show for the album Captain and Me by the Doobie Brothers, 1973, recorded in 72, and one of their best albums. And we're going to go next time to the next songs will be, what are we going to have? Okay, we're going to have Ukiah and The Captain and Me. And the last two songs of the album, Ukiah, I think, has a pretty good reputation of being a good song. I don't remember it. I don't remember any of these two songs. And we'll find out what they're like. But this was the Doobies' big album, 1973. It was one of their best albums. Had two of their great all-time favorites, Long Train Running and China Grove, on here. Big radio hits. And the rest of the songs, I don't think quite made it to that, obviously, but very interesting group of songs, combination of music styles. We had one totally very countryish song so far, South City Midnight Lady, and then we had one little acoustic ditty, I guess you would call, for lack of a better word. All right, well, thank you for joining me for this episode of Rock Record Shelf. We're doing the best albums of the 1970s and 1980s. And please go and watch the rest of our shows. We've got a lot of stuff. I have reviewed a lot of albums so far, from Boston's 1970s albums. We've got Rush's 2112. We have Deep Purple's Dark Side of the Moon. We've got Rumors by Fleetwood Mac. And a whole bunch. We've got Bob Seger, a bunch of others. And there's still a lot left to do. In fact, we're looking at doing Cosmo's Factory by CCR, a big album of theirs. And even down the road, the Doors' 1970 album, Morrison Hotel, which was a great album as well. And plus some other stuff. And we did Toys in the Attic by Aerosmith. So we're covering the gamut here, folks. And there's still a lot of 1970s albums left to review. So stay tuned, watch them all. I cover everything. I try to do to cover both the history and a little bit about the band and what it meant to me, my interpretation of the song, the meaning of the lyrics, what I like about the music. I try to do a nice balance here so you get a little bit of everything. And of course, those of you who know this music probably enjoy this more. But if you're a young person and you're a musician especially, this is music you need to learn and listen to, because this is really very good music by very talented musicians. They didn't have a lot of technology to help them make themselves sound better. They had to be good. If you weren't good, you just didn't make it. And so you had to be good singing, good songwriting, good instrumentation. These guys had to be top of the game, okay? So all this stuff you're hearing is really by very quality musicians, talented musicians who made human music. No computers or machines here. And at the very most, you had electric guitar, electric piano, electric microphone, and it's so forth. Everything else was human. And that's one thing about the music in the 60s, 70s, and 80s. Most of it was music by humans for humans. No computers were making anything. No sampling. No, it was original music. Now, there were a lot of bands that were doing covers of other bands' songs and doing their own version. That was happening. But it was their personal take on it, not letting the computer interpret it, okay? Anyway, thank you for joining for this episode. Join me again for the next episode. We're going to finish the rest of this album. And I hope you're enjoying this with me, this Magic Carpet Ride to the best albums of the 70s and 80s. And if you want to support the channel, please check out our coffee. We have got a bundles here. We can buy bundles of coffee grouped together so that the price is lower. And every first order is free shipping if you use the code word coffee. So go to this website, brainygourmet.shopify.com, and get your coffee. This is, I'm telling you, it's my favorite coffee of all time. We drink it, my family drinks it, and I know you're going to like it. That's why I don't mind selling it to you, because I know that once you've had it, you're going to want more. So go ahead and get yourself some coffee. You will support the channel. I could get a better camera, for example, and help us keep this thing going, improve the quality of the show. And anyway, thank you for watching. Thank you for your comments, your wonderful comments, for subscribing. Like and subscribe, hit that notification bell. Send this off to your friends and relatives and those you think would be interested, and tell them about this channel and help to grow the channel. Well, thank you very much. Keep rocking on, and I'll see you again next time.